Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Notre Dame Primetime Live. I am your host, Ryan Farrell, with my co-host, Sean, a.k.a. ND Forever. We are back for another episode presented by our friends over at FanDuel. Spring ball is finally here, so we got a lot to kind of talk about, break down. So we'll get into a lot of that stuff. This is going to be just mainly a spring ball show. There's not too much, recruiting news, so to speak. I know Notre Dame recently had their huge junior day event with a lot of, elite big-time recruits. I believe it was 3 5-stars were on campus this past weekend for the first weekend of fall camp. Got to experience that. A lot of good updates with that, but as of right now, no new commitments, no new predictions yet. Although I believe it was Partridge, our defensive line coach, posted a Shamrock and added Coach Codlin. Was it last night? So maybe we do have a commitment and we just don't know yet. But
it's just Gerard Parker coming back as our offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
I'm doing great, Ryan.
Yeah, screw you, Sean. We don't care. On a serious note, spring ball is here. Football is finally back, sort of. It is overreaction and overanalyzing season because you have a fan base that has been without Notre Dame football for, 3 months? 4 months? Season ended in basically November, right?
4 or 5 months, almost 5 months.
Yeah. So now that we're actually getting a lot of practice reports every day, you're getting lists about who the best players in spring ball were. So we're going to kind of dive into everything, all the overreactions, overanalyzing. I kind of want to do a segment today where we kind of just do like buy or sell, right? Because we just mentioned off camera, last year's like spring and fall camp MVP was Carson Hobbs. And we saw how that played out. Wasn't the best. Wasn't even close to what the media hyped him up to be and what we thought he was going to be. So kind of want to get into that. Obviously, it seems like early on, Tay Johnson is like the spring ball MVP right now. First day had 2 interceptions on CJ Carr. One of them being a, ball hawk, like Xavier Watts, Kyle Hamilton type play where he just came over the top.
Yeah.
And just snatched the ball out of midair. So I know Sean wanted to take his victory laps about Tay Johnson. Seems like he's going to be
the next Notre Dame safety.
The next Notre Dame safety that I don't know if I'd say first round yet. I think we're still too early.
He'll be at least the second.
I think he's going to be a high round draft pick, but I know you wanted to go ahead and give your victory laps because you called this back a couple years ago when we were diving into the 2024 class.
Because I was angry.
He was your sleeper.
Why are we going to let this guy go to Purdue?
Yeah.
But I will say I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy Tay Johnson, of course. Just ball hawk skills aren't like Xavier Watts level, but they're there. Like he's always around the ball. He's probably a top 5 ball hawk safety in college football this season. So he's just always around the ball, and I think he's going to take a step forward even from last year. So.
Yeah. I agree. I think
you're buying.
I'm buying, obviously. It's not a Carson Hobbs situation, right, where we hadn't seen Hobbs play previously. He's a freshman All-American for a reason. He's insanely talented. I'll be honest, I didn't know it necessarily if he was going to play all that much, right? Um, Especially in a talented DB room like Notre Dame's, where you have Ethan Long waiting in the wings, you have Luke Talich who's waiting in the wings. Now you add Joey O'Brien and Aiden Pouncey to that room. You've got so many great safeties. Um, Seems like Notre Dame, even without Mike Mickens, the train just continues to chug down the track. But yeah, I'm definitely buying. I think it's safe to say Tay Johnson is going to be another All-American next year. Do you think he'll be a second or first team?
He'll probably come back for another season. So I think he'd be a second this year and maybe a first the next year.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind that.
He's going to go to the draft next year, but I think he knows, like, if he came back another year, he'd be a higher round pick. It depends on how he does this season, but I think he'll be a second All-American.
All right, our next buy or sell, and Ben will be joining us here in a little bit. He's running a little late, but next buy or sell. Mylan Graham will be wide receiver 1 next season.
I'm going to sell.
Why?
And it's nothing to do with him being his talent. I think he's got the potential, and I think he's going to be a great wide receiver on the roster, and I think he's going to probably be the wide receiver 1 in terms of on the field. But when you ask me wide receiver 1 by the end of the year, I'm assuming you mean statistical, right? And statistical, I feel like I can see Faison with already playing with Carr. I could see him having more catches or more yards just because of the connection. I could see Micah Gilbert taking a step forward, right? I could even see other than Graham, the other, I'm drawing a blank, the other Ohio State transfer. Help me out here.
Quincy Porter.
Quincy Porter, I could see stepping up. The receiver room's pretty loaded. I don't know if I see him leading the team in yards. I think he'll be the wide receiver 1 on the team, but I'm going to sell in terms of statistical by the end of the year because I think it'll be a Faison or somebody or Micah Gilbert that'll be the 1 in stats.
Yeah, I think it's there's a lot of it's overreaction, right? With people saying Mylan Graham's going to be wide receiver 1. But I will say, and again, it's routes versus air, right? We've been watching this clip over and over. It's routes versus air. But if you just watch him run the routes alongside all the other receivers, he just looks different, right? He looks like a different caliber of athlete than what anybody else at Notre Dame has currently in the receiver room, which is why he was a 5-star, right? That it all checks out. But, and I've talked to Ohio State fans about this multiple times, that some buddies of mine that are Ohio State guys that follow recruiting just like I do, are fanatics just like we are, and they follow the day-to-day. The issue with Mylan was never the raw talent, the ability, right? It was the consistency, the on-field production, and according to them, like the drive for him, right? At Ohio State. I think if he has the raw talent to be a wide receiver 1 at Notre Dame, because his raw talent floor is higher than Jordan Faison's, is higher than Jaden Greathouse, is higher than Micah Gilbert, is higher than Cam Williams, right? Just from a raw, intangible athleticism standpoint, he's got a higher floor than those guys. the thing is, he's got a higher ceiling than those guys too. But he's got to put in the work. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, can he be a wide receiver one? Yeah. But I think saying right now, wide receiver one after one weekend of practice, when he's running routes against air, I can't say that.
I'll say after
fall. I'm selling. Yeah.
So, for now.
I also want to see what Quincy Porter looks like.
Me too.
We didn't get to talk about this. I guess we'll talk about it a little bit here in a little bit. But Porter being out of fall camp, Jaden Greathouse being not fall camp, spring camp.
Okay.
My bad. Porter being completely out of spring camp, Jaden Greathouse being limited, right? I think it was a Greathouse isn't even fully practicing. I believe, or something like that. He's completely limited with his hamstring issue. You're not getting to see what those guys look like. So I want to wait till fall camp, see what happens in the spring game. But I can't argue. I don't think either one of us can argue that he doesn't look pretty damn good.
Yeah, and we can't argue the chance he's going to be. We're just saying no for now. And I think Cam Williams also, you mentioned his name, is looking really good spring ball. Like he's starting to, look decent. So we'll see. But yeah, you're gonna sell too.
Yeah, I'm selling. Yeah. All right. Here's the next one. Next buy or sell. All right. Cooper Flanagan will be tight end 1 next season.
Buy.
You buy it? Why is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll be him, and then Ty Washington will be the two as a blocker. I could see a young guy, and I could see in fall camp it's Frizzell, right?
Preston Frizzell and Ian Premer. Ian Premer's the 5-star tight end.
I can see Ian Premer or Frizzell getting a lot of playing time, but with the experience that he has, I can see him being the main starter, right?
Yeah.
I think he'll be the one this season. I don't know about next, but the talent's there. I mean, he was a 4-star tight end, legacy player, right? I think that he'll. It's too inexperienced of a room for him not to be, right? Mm-hmm. Which also means too inexperienced of a room somebody else to be too. But I mean, I just think we've seen him play very limited snaps, but enough the last few years that it's kind of obvious. He was kind of waiting in the wings. You said when I said it, yes, but I mean, I'm going to buy it. I think he's going to be the tight end 1. In stats too, he'll be the leading tight end receiver.
I think it's interesting because like this tweet here by Jack Sobel, he's finally back. We remember he tore his Achilles 14 plus months ago. So he was recovering from that, missed all of last season. I like it though. He got into a skirmish in Friday's practice. Evidently we've had just this past weekend, we had 3 skirmishes and fights. I think that's a good thing. You're seeing a lot of animosity. Not animosity. That's not the best word for it, but guys are pissed off, man. They're I think it's we'll get into the Ty Washington quote. I don't know if you saw that. When he had at the press conference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're seeing that in the way that these guys are practicing. And I also think Freeman talked about this year, they pushed spring ball back. Right. Last year, the spring game was April 6th. Spring ball started back at March 7th. Right. So they pushed it back a couple weeks. And he said this year, instead of using spring ball to kind of focus on individual workouts, working out with individual units, they're actually doing team stuff together and a lot more scrimmages than what we've seen in years past. And Freeman talked about he wanted that because he wants these guys to do more actual football in spring so that they don't have the slow start in September. So I think that you're kind of seeing that. That's why you're seeing so many
Are
skirmishes.
you worried because of that? That means early start, but later in the year, a little bit of fatigue?
No, because I think they're not pushing them too hard, obviously. I think that's part of why.
And there's the break, and there's a break after the regular season. So, yeah.
But I think also that's why you've seen a lot of the starters that are not participating in spring ball. Right? Like Aeneas Williams limited. Jaden
Limited, but he ain't limited. Like, that he's playing a lot for limited. From what I've seen, like, if that's limited by him, what's the full workload?
Well, like, Greathouse is hardly doing anything.
He's limited, and so is Williams, but Williams is doing 90% more than Greathouse.
Like, Porter's completely out. Like, that's one of your main contributors. Kedron Young is completely out. Like, and I saw somebody bring this up. Your starting linebackers are either out or limited, right? And I think the only linebackers we have available that were in the rotation last year are Jalen Sneed and Jaden Osbury, and that's it.
Yeah.
Framo's out. KVA's out.
KVA won't be back until he'll miss fall camp, right?
Bowen is pretty much just like in not really doing much, which I think that's more of a precautionary thing, right? Because you already do have Framo and KVA injured. So you're running out there with Jalen Sneed, Osbury, Thomas Davis Jr., like even Jacoby Clapper, who was like the guy that came in with Thomas Davis Jr., he's out for fall camp. Or not fall camp, spring camp.
God, you keep scaring me with that. You need
I know. So, like, that's a question mark. And then running backs, right? Like, Aeneas Williams is limited. Kedron, who was like your chalked up number 2, is out completely.
Nolan James is looking decent.
Nolan James is looking amazing. Getting back to the Cooper Flanagan stuff,
are you buying or selling? And if you're selling, who?
I'm selling just because Ian Premer is not on campus. And I think Ian Premer is so good that he may not start week 1. But there's no way he doesn't see the field.
He'll see the field. But I just don't see him starting this year. Like, it'll be Flanagan, and then he'll come in situationally to get some good reps as a freshman. So rotate them.
It's just I've never been personally sold on Cooper Flanagan. That's just me.
He's just a basic tight end.
Yeah.
He's an all-around. He's just fine. He's a good tight end.
I loved Mitchell Evans. I loved Raritan, right? But you saw the tools in those guys. Flanagan, I could be completely wrong. You have better tight ends on the roster. They're just young, and they don't have experience.
I could see Flanagan. Flanagan, I think, he's a mixture of Mitchell Evans and Raritan into one tight end. Like, he's not as good of a contested catcher as Mitchell Evans, but he's got the body type. But he is a little bit like Raritan in terms of decent hands, but maybe not as good. But, I mean, he's good. I mean, he's not bad at all. I mean, he'll be fine.
Yeah. Ben is joining us. What's up, man?
What's up, guys? Sorry I was late. Was busy doing some stuff.
So we're doing like a just cool little spring segment called
just want to make sure there's no echo, right? There's no echo?
No echo. You're good.
Okay, just making sure. I'm in my car. Just want to make sure.
You're good. So we're doing like a spring segment called Buy or Sell, and just kind of going off of like the overreactions from the first weekend of spring ball. Kind of buying or selling right now. The first one we did was buy or sell that Mylan Graham was going to be wide receiver 1 next
Tay
year.
Johnson, the first one.
Oh, the first one was Tay Johnson. Are you buying or selling Tay Johnson as the best safety on the team next year?
Schuller's a box safety. It's really got to depend on what we see out of Schuller. I think Schuller has the potential just by the way we run our team, but I think Tay Johnson will be the better playmaker at the safety position.
Okay, and then the
So
next
is that
one
buying or
was
selling.
I'd buy on him being the best playmaker at that position.
okay.
I
And then
do
the
think
other one-
Schuller this year will take a giant jump though, so we'll see. I would still buy on Tay Johnson.
Okay. Buy or sell, Mylan Graham will be wide receiver 1 next year.
Are we playing him at the slot or are we playing him on the outside?
He's been in the slot and playing on the outside and spring ball. So
If we
hard.
play him outside, I think it will work better for him. So, because when I remember, if you guys remember when we first got him, I was saying, at least in the spaces, were that he reminds me a lot of Trey Tucker. He's got to make a lot of big plays over the top, and he's a guy who you could maybe throw it in between the middle, and he's got to make a play just based off his pure speed.
Mhm.
I would buy if he's playing a decent amount. If he's got to play purely slot, then I think we're going to be misusing him. So if he's playing a decent amount on the outside, I think I'd buy on that, being number 1. Because this year we have Jordan Faison, Jane Greyhouse. That's the only 2 returners that were big names. Of course, we have Micah Gilbert, but
He brought in Quincy Porter as well.
Brian Quincy Porter.
Yeah.
You're gonna. We talked about possibility of a freshman getting decent playing time for this year. I don't think it will. I don't think it'll happen enough to where it's gonna affect Mylan Graham. But I think he could. If we're playing him on the outside, he could definitely be the wide receiver 1 at the end of the year.
I said I'd sell for now, just because Carr has a connection with Faison. Gilbert's looking good. We don't know what Quincy Porter's going to be, and a lot of injuries right now until fall camp. So I said I'm going to have to see him in fall camp. I think he's got the potential to be I think he'll be the wide receiver 1 on the field, but in terms of stats and production, I see Faison maybe getting more looks or other receivers in the slot, so I want to see more of him before.
Yeah.
But there's so much talent that for me it's a sell.
Yeah. Right now, the biggest question is gotta be, are we gonna be able to get him the ball? I think if we make it our pure goal to get him 6 or 7, I'm lifting my hands up right now, funny joke, 6 or 7 targets a game, he could be a wide receiver 1 for us, because I think he can make a big enough play on the outside that's good. But if it's gotta be like how it was last year, where Fields was lucky to get that many in a game at some points, then he probably won't have the stats to make up for it.
Yeah, I also sold mainly because I remember, and you remember this, Ben, when we were in the spaces, we were all excited when we got Porter and Mylan, but we all were it was a consensus agreement that Porter, right? Because Porter was looked at as like the Malachi Fields replacement, the guy that you put on the boundary. He's 6'4", he's faster than Fields, more athletic than Fields. Right, like he was going to be the starter with Porter out for spring camp and Jaden Greathouse being limited for spring camp. It makes me wonder, just because I want to see what those guys look like. Until we get those guys on the field with Mylan and seeing how that all looks, we don't really know what the dynamic will be, like you said. If Mylan's in the slot primarily, are we gonna be using him enough? If he's on the outside, are we gonna give him the targets, or is Quincy Porter gonna get those targets? We don't know what that looks like, so it's hard for me to say he's going to be wide receiver 1. He has the talent to be. I just want to see what he looks like when he's on the field with the other guys we have in the room.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think we have 3 wide receivers in this room that have the talent without a doubt to be wide receiver 1. That being Porter, Graham, and Faison. Greyhouse has to prove it to me just because of how bad last season was, but Porter just as himself as an athlete and how tall he is, all the physical attributes, he has the talent to be wide receiver 1. Graham, with the film and everything we see, I have to say he has the talent. And then Fajon, he's just a workhorse. He's going to get you the first down. He's not going to give up on the play. That's what you want in a guy like that.
Yeah. I would say Gilbert has the potential less than them, and there's a gap. But I would say that there is somewhat potential if he's starting on the depth chart to be. But we'll see.
Yeah. And then the final one we did before you hopped in here, Ben, is Cooper Flanagan. You know, he's back after his ACL tear. He's been recovering for 14 plus months. He's been playing very well so far in spring camp. Is he your tight end one heading into next year?
How many tight ends did we have come in early?
Only Preston Frizzell.
Okay, so Primer and I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name, but the other top 5 tight end, they're both lates.
No, so Frizzell
actually regular.
Frizzell. Yeah, Frizzell's on campus. So Primer isn't yet.
Okay. I think he can't. If Primer was maybe on campus in December or to start the semester, I could maybe say Primer would be on his ass because that means that Primer is going to have a full spring ball. But yeah, I would say Flanagan's probably our tight end one as of right now, unless something happens. The problem is, like we said, he hasn't played football. He hasn't been fully recovered for 14 months. He missed a whole season. Yeah. So you're going to have to prove that that's not going to affect you as bad as what it has in fact, because we've seen guys, they were really good, and then they have one of those injuries, and then they're out for a whole year, and then they just lose a step, or they realistically just lose their spot because there's a younger guy behind them who came in early, who was on their ass, and was able to win the job.
Yeah. All right. And then we'll go to...
so was that a bye?
I think that's a bye. So, all right, let me find the next one I want.
Oh, fuck, my bad. That's a bye.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, I'll buy Flanagan as of right now.
All right. I guess we can go here since we were talking about Knapp, right? The starting offensive line to start spring camp was Will Black on the outside at tackle. Anthony Knapp finally kicked into his natural position at left guard. Right now, Joe Otting is the starting center until Craig gets back. And then you have Sullivan Absher at right guard. Right tackle is now Gerby Lambert, who's now back at his natural position. Buy or sell, this year's offensive line will be better than last year's offensive line. And the offensive line that Freeman's had the last 3 years, outside of obviously the Joe Alt year.
And Blake Fisher year, right? Yeah. I'm going to say bye. I think that's your starting offensive line week 1. So the only thing I could see changing is if Sullivan Asher is kicked and Charles Jagasaw is the right guard. But if he's healthy. But I think Will Black and what they're doing with Knapp is what we're going to see. I think putting Lambert at right tackle is what they were planning on doing. Maybe Otting won't be the center. It'll be Craig. But, I mean, who knows? Otting could win the job. Probably not, but just saying. But, yeah, I think this is our starting offensive line week 1.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you disagree? I mean,
I think there's a few things. I think Craig, if he's healthy, is probably going to take that job back.
Yeah.
We talked about this a little bit with Jagasaw. Ben, I don't know. I know you've been not paying attention, like obviously not paying attention as much to the day-to-day, but Jagasaw is completely out for spring camp.
And
Freeman said that he had to have a 5th surgery this past week on that same elbow due to complications with infection. So there's no timetable for his return. It's not likely he's going to be ready for even fall camp. So with that, you're probably stuck with Abshire at your right guard. So yeah, I still think this is a better offensive line than the one that started last year against Miami. Right? I think Gerby has a higher ceiling than Wagner. We talked about Wagner a lot. I think last show did not really love Wagner too much. Yeah, I think outside of the Joe Otting Craig situation, I think this is your starting offensive line day one. And I do think it's better. I think Knapp, the fact that you moved Knapp to his natural position I think, just makes all the difference in this lineup.
Yeah, and you got a 5-star caliber left tackle play a lot of football. Yeah.
You have 3 guys on this offensive line that are 6'7". And it
6'7".
6'7", yeah. But I'm buying it. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, and one thing, I'm buying it. I'm putting my stock, I'm putting the whole portfolio on this thing, dude. Because what was our one complaint last year? That we thought, like, oh, this would fix all the problems, besides Charles Dragasol getting injured every single week. But what was the one thing? We have to move that back to we have to move our guys back to their normal positions, back to the spots that we need them to play. We're having guys play positions they're not the best at. And we're plugging, and I understand it's all about, if you want to say it's about getting the best 5 guys on the field, put the best 5 guys on the field. I know a lot of high school coaches are like that. But we're a national championship contender. We have to have these guys play at the spot they're best in. And that was our biggest problem in games when we had O-line problems, was that we had guys playing spots they weren't the best at, and then getting beat up by guys better than them on defense. Remember the Ruben Bain game should have been like open our eyes to this. Like, see this problem. I'm buying this. Like, this is the best line we've had, like we said, since Fisher and since Joel. I think that's why I believe. If it's Craig or if it's Ott starting, I think that's why it's out right now.
What are your thoughts on the?
I am a little bit. I do think Wagner got a little too much hate. But I will say that I'm a little nervous about Sullivan Abshire at right guard. That's the only question mark I kind of have.
Yeah.
I don't really know if how good he is yet, right? I don't know yet.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He's like I think he's clearly your weak link on the offensive line. But he's played in a lot of games. Like, you know what he reminds me of? Who was was it Alex Bars? Like, who was here for like 5-6 years, and wasn't really the best guy on the offensive line. Tosh Baker.
I was hoping you wouldn't say
Tosh Baker. Tosh Baker. He's not the greatest. He's not the best, but he's serviceable.
Tosh Baker wasn't even serviceable, bro. He was actually late in that game.
He's not gonna be the reason you lose, but he's not gonna be the reason you win.
Yes. I think, but you're leaning on the other 4 guys you have on the offensive line.
If Jagasol comes back and can play right guard, it's a perfect offensive line.
That leads me to my next question.
I'm not gonna lie. I think we gotta pull the plug on this Charles Dragasol shit. Off of this belief that he's going to come back, it's got to be fine. Because you're now, and it's pure luck. That's luck. The infection thing, like, he just has shit luck. That's all it is. But you have to maybe start picturing the idea that unless we put this kid in a bubble, he's probably not going to be 100% come week 1 against Wisconsin. That's the problem.
He hasn't been 100% his entire career, and that's been the problem. The problem with Jagasol has never been the talent, right? We saw it in the playoff run 2 years ago when he missed the entire season. And everybody's like, well, when we played Georgia, he was available to play. And everybody's like, well, you don't bring him back. He hasn't played all year, right? Like, you're going to mess up that. Slide him in, and he plays amazing against Georgia. Plays amazing against Penn State. Didn't have like the greatest game against Ohio State, but nobody really did. But he played great after not playing all season, so he's got the talent. The problem is, and again, like you said, Ben, I feel for the kid because this is his 5th surgery in the last calendar year since it happened. The infection stuff is just shit luck, but you're recruiting offensive line at such a high level. You can't, if you're Freeman, you can't just hold out hope that, hey, if Jagasaw comes back, he's super talented. Probably the best offensive lineman you got. We can't wait. Like I asked Sean this question before we went on live. So I'll ask you the same one. If Jagasaw is, say we're in week 5, week 6, Jagasaw missed all of spring camp, all of fall camp, and the first few games of the season. The offensive line is gelling. Your 6 games of the season, you have the BYU game coming up a few weeks. You have the Miami game in a few weeks. And Jagasaw is greenlit and ready to go. The dude hasn't played in over a calendar year and has only played 3 games in 3 seasons. Are you swapping out Sullivan Abshire for Jagasaw at that point?
In my personal belief, no, we should not. Because at that point, like last year was, okay, Jagasaw's coming. We're going to get him back. The O-line was having problems.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we were so okay with it. But if it's having no problems, they're gelling fine, they're doing a great job. And realistically, that first few weeks, I think that's got to be very important for our O-line, getting to play with each other, all of that. Like, I understand we're not playing the greatest teams of all time to start the season, but at the end of the day, those reps will matter. There's no reason to insert Jagasaw just because we think he's better than whoever it is, if it's Asher or if it's someone else on another spot. But the problem is that you can't keep having this idea of, oh, our problems will be fixed because the kid that keeps getting injured is going to be back. So if we are having problems in the season with our O-line, I wouldn't say it's the automatic bailout as it was last year. Oh, well, just wait till Jagasaw gets back. Like, just hold on, guys. Like, help's on the way. No, you have to get these kids better. And if you have to move Asher out, you got to put another guy who's not Charles Drexel, then do it. Because the back half of our season is the toughest part of our season. That's going to be our make or break part of the season. I would rather us move a guy, if we're, say, week 4 we're in, Jagasaw's still not back, move a guy in week 4, see if he does better, so then when that bad part of the season comes around, we're ready. And we're not forcing guys who haven't played all season to play the job.
Yeah. And I'm in agreement with that. I don't think you can, when you have BYU and Miami down the line, like you said, if everything's good and your Abshire's playing great, like we're not playing great, but just he's doing his job, right? And the offensive line is clicking and they're gelling. I don't know if you want to just implement a guy that hasn't played in over a year and try to get him accustomed to gameplay, on the field game reps when you have Miami and BYU staring down the barrel. Like, I don't think you can afford to do that, because then what happens if you play Jagasaw out there and you go up against BYU, you go up against Miami, he's not ready, and he gives up a blown assignment. CJ Carr gets walloped and fumbles a ball or throws a tipped interception, and that costs you the game. You can't risk that.
And it's a screen picked off.
Oh. Yeah. Or him getting a false start, not really knowing the cadence and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff.
He's never played with Carr. By then, it would be Carr started over 15 games, and he's never played with Carr.
Yeah.
That's the biggest problem. Carr has played with every single one of these guys. But Charles Jagasaw, our supposedly best O-lineman we have on the team, hasn't played a single snap with them.
I will say that if he's healthy, with there still being a game or two before BYU, I would. But if BYU's the next game, I wouldn't. Right? If you have Northern Illinois and NC State before BYU, You play him, give him some reps, give him 2 games before people.
Wait. Are we sure Northern Illinois? Are we sure? Last time we said that didn't end that well.
Yeah.
Hey, I do think though. Well, okay, what would be your time limit for him? Like, what week would he have? BYU is week 7, so like
week 4 to 5.
he
I would
has
say
to be
week
ready
2.
by then.
I
think yeah.
Week 4.
I would say he can miss
2 games.
I think Wisconsin game he can miss, and then what? Rice is after that, right?
Rice, yeah.
I think Wisconsin and Rice. And it has to be Rice is that you're keeping them out because you're playing fucking Rice. So you're not going to play the injury-prone guy. I would say Michigan State game is the closest that he can get to like being like where we're going to make the switch. If he's not ready to play fully by Michigan State, then like he's just got to end up being one of those guys' career where everything is, oh, he's an amazing player, but he can't stay on the field. He can't stay healthy. And we need to commit to something like that because this bullshit where someone's on the way. Just hold out for now, guys. Do your best. Fix the problems before the problems get there. Don't wait for Charles Jagasol to come in and save your ass. Because is he a really good lineman? Yeah. But there's so many problems. And there's other guys on this team, too, who I think have injury problems. And that's where I'm going to question as well. Because this is the year, guys. We're national championship contenders. We're not going to get this opportunity again guaranteed for a while. We have to do it. And I'm not wanting to waste half the year waiting on Charles Jackson.
And the best ability is it doesn't matter how good of a player you are, right? You hear this all the time. The best ability is availability. He's not available.
We're also assuming that everyone on the offensive line is going to be healthy all year. If there's an injury somewhere, Jagasol will be a great plug-in. So, and I don't disagree with you, Ben, on your statement of it being now. I do think we'll have semi-decent production next year returning, but it's going to be like with the new, depending on the situation with Carr and everything, that I could see a 1 year kind of, you make the playoffs, but you lose. And then the next year, a quarterback with experience, then we look decent. But I think this is the year where the talent, we're the number 1 returning team in terms of talent in the country, top 5 with defense and like top 15 in offense. Like you got to take advantage of it.
All right. Let me go ahead and we'll do one more buy or sell.
Did he leave? All right.
What do you mean? Did Ben hop out? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he might have had technical difficulties. Oh, there he is. All right. We'll do.
I'm sorry, Sean. Can you repeat what you said? My phone was glitching. What did you say, Sean?
What was the last thing you heard?
I heard depending on the difficulties, and then
I was saying that it's the year, but depending on what happens with Carr, like next year could be maybe a close to a playoff year, depending on how Gerard does. But I think it would be another year, and then I could see us being good again. But this is the year when we have number 1 returning team in the country with top 5 returning on defense, top 15 returning on offense. Like, and a lot of them go to the draft after this year.
Yeah, right. I think this year overall, you have the guy who's is CJ Carr still the Heisman favorite?
Yes, he is.
At least up there. So you have the Heisman favorite at quarterback. Your biggest question mark is at running back, but you've been vetting this running back that you have for 2 years. You have a returning O-line. You have returning wide receivers. You've replaced them with even better wide receivers. You've added in better wide receivers realistically as a core. And then you have the best DB room in the country. You have, I would say Tate Johnson is at least a top 5 safety. You have Adon Schuler who came back. You have a returning linebacker core who's amazing. Your D-line's getting better and better. You had one of the best transfer portals, I would say, in recent history for the program. I think that if we're using, it's not like last year, because remember what Freeman said last year, about how last year was about getting better. We are not in that situation. It is not about getting better. It's about winning. It's about, as we say, leave no doubt. We're leaving no doubt. We're going to win every fucking game, and anything short of that is a failure. That's my opinion. Anything short of going undefeated in regular season is a failure.
I think minimum you have to go 11-1 to 12-0, and I think minimum for a postseason this year is you need to make the semifinals for the championship.
I think
That's
minimum for the postseason this year is make the finals.
I don't disagree,
No.
but I would say bare
Now,
minimum.
this is whole season, like, knock on wood, no one gets injured. Like, if something like that happens, it changes.
Bare minimum, though. I mean, obviously you want the championship, but a semifinal appearance, winning a New Year's Six Bowl, winning a playoff game, being a Final Four team isn't what you want, but that's like, okay, bare minimum, you at least competed. Like, you want to win. You want to make it. I'm just saying, for me, the bare minimum is, like, that's the minimum. That's not what I want. That's the minimum. Like,
I would say right now, just off of what we have, off of the way we're being talked about, I would say the atmosphere in that locker room, if we're doing this leave no doubt, the bare minimum is making the championship game. I believe that's where we can be like, if we don't win the championship game, then it's, you know what, this wasn't the game we were going to win. But if you come up short and you lose like in this, I think we go undefeated in the regular season. I do. I don't see Miami beating us at home. I don't see it happening. And I don't see any other team, maybe BYU giving us a little bit of a scare, but even BYU, I don't see beating us. And I understand I might be a little favorite there. And also, I do, like, I was someone last year when we were 0-2 that said an 8-4 season's definitely in play because there's going to be a game that we're going to play bad and we're almost going to lose. And we could lose. But I think undefeated season's a bare minimum for this team. This is what the mindset we have to have is.
All right, before we continue, because we'll bring up the leave no doubt here in a second. I want to get through these final two by ourselves here. The next one, and this one's been talked about a lot. I'm sure you've seen it a lot, Ben. The massive changes in the defensive line room, especially on the interior size, we haven't seen. Chris, this is from Chris Burgess's dad from spring camp. Chris Burgess is now kicked inside. He was an edge. I believe he was like 260 coming out of high school, and now he's a pure defensive lineman, D tackle, 300 pounds. You have 300 pounders now in the room. Actually 4, because I forgot Big Bear, Sean. So here's my buy or sell. Buy or sell. This is the best defensive line that Marcus Freeman has ever had in his entire career, not just at Notre Dame, but it's also a top 3 defensive line room in the nation.
Let me ask,
buy or sell.
Best or most talented?
Best.
I'm going to say false.
Why is that?
I think the year we had Mills and the year that we had that defensive line, it was pretty talented. It could be similar. And I'm mainly saying false to top 3 in the country. I see top 10, but we have a lot of guys. Maybe it'll be top 3 because of how easy our schedule is. But I see a lot of guys that are going to have to get playing time. They never got playing time, gel together. I think talent-wise, yeah, but I think top 10. I don't think top 3 in the country. I think top 5 edges, but interior, we still got a lot of question marks, even though they're looking good. I think they could be one of the best under Freeman. So it's a half and half, but I'm going to say false for now because we've had some pretty decent D-line, and I just top 3 is a big statement. I don't know if Ben agrees because there's a lot of teams like Georgia and Alabama and Ohio State that have some pretty good defensive lines.
Ben, what do you think?
I think best Freeman has ever had. I think you can justify it just because I don't like the best. And from what I can think of, it's better than any D-line he's had at Cincinnati. Like, Cincinnati didn't really have the, I wouldn't say overperforming at D-line. Now they did very well for being in the American. But overperforming D-line wise, it's better than that. It's better than anything. I don't know if it's better than the one with Isaiah Foskey. What would that have been? That would have been Freeman's first year.
I
Yeah.
think wasn't it
that was
Foskey and that one Ohio State transfer?
It was
Yeah,
Javon
Foskey and yeah.
Jean Baptiste.
Baptiste. Inside was
Baptiste, yeah.
Mills with Cross. I mean, that's pretty good.
That was a pretty. I think buy on the potential, but sell on the actual outcome. I don't think it'll be
Agreed.
better than that team.
Agreed.
Top three, I think it will be top three in stats, like Sean said, because realistically, outside the Miami game, I don't see a game where our line either side struggles as of right now. But overall, I can name five. I would say I could name five teams with better D lines than us.
Yeah.
Next year.
Would it
Pure
be-
talent wise?
Would it be a better phrase to say this is the deepest Notre Dame defensive line that he's had? Because I'm also looking at I'm taking the edges out of it, right? I know that's part
Are
of
you
it.
just taking the two in between?
Like the interior, Mills and Cross were great. Not going to say anything bad about Mills and Cross, but they were both undersized.
But they produce for being undersized, though. That's the thing.
Yes.
That's
But
why
you're
I'm saying
bringing in guys that-
potential-wise,
Mills was a big boy.
Cross was
But
the
you're-
more undersized out of both of them. I see what Fravel's saying, though. Compared to these guys, they're smaller.
Like these are guys like Tion Gray. He's produced at the highest level for a playoff team and was a starting nose in the college football playoff last year at Oregon, and had just for a nose tackle to wrap up as many tackles as he did as a freshman last year, insane. Francis Brew was an All-American last year at Pitt. He's 6'1", but 300 plus pounds. Like Keon Keeley was a starter in the playoffs for Alabama. Like, to me, you have, like I said, maybe it's the deeper is the better phrase.
Yes.
Because we don't necessarily know the potential.
I could agree
there.
on deeper. It's deeper. It's the deepest he's ever had. You're correct.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of
I'd buy on the deepest he's ever had. I'd buy that.
Yeah. But like, I just think that it's one of those things we've never had size like this on the interior, and that's been the thing that's bugged me about our defense. Like, no disrespect to the Heinisch. No disrespect. I love the Heinisches and what they've done for Notre Dame. Even though Kurt, we can all agree, was the better Heinisch of the two. But the fact that we rolled out there against Miami with the best offensive line in the country, with a starting D tackle that was, 6'1", 270, and expected him to be able to make a difference in that game, I was like, why?
Well, if you want me to be dead honest with you, every team in the country, if you're comparing to Miami's O-line, every team in the country is going to be saying the same fucking thing. Because and that's why I can agree with you depth-wise. Like, if we're putting on that many guys that size, at some point, like, you're going to have to say depth-wise we're better. But you got to look at from the perspective of every team that Miami played had a giant disadvantage on size. And realistically, and I don't know, I don't think I did any of the podcasts after, or any of the shows after the national championship, but Miami was a blocked punt away from being national champs, if we're being real here. It's because of the advantage they had at O-line.
Yeah.
Being that big of an advantage. So at the end of the day, if we're just going to compare baseball at Miami.
You're not wrong, Ben, because if that didn't happen, it changes the game. However, Indiana never trailed the whole game, so it's also like Indiana.
Yeah, but like, so if you're Miami there, you're punting it back to Miami, Indiana, who I believe hadn't gotten past the 50-yard line that quarter. So that was my main.
But then also to that point, though, Ben, you could argue in that game. Obviously, I was there in person. I was screaming. I'm talking about
the Miami IU game.
Oh no, I get it. I'm talking about our game. I was so furious being there live and watching us just continuously put Heinisch out there and him getting blown off the ball 5 yards. And ironically enough, the few times that we got tackles for loss against Miami, was when we had Jared Dawson in, who was 300 pounds, was a space eater, but then we would get a tackle for loss with Jared Dawson in there because they couldn't just bully him because they outweighed him, and then we put Heinisch back in. We lost that game by 3 points. Obviously, there's a lot more that went into that game, but I don't think Miami would have had as much success blowing us off the line if we had Jared Dawson and more Jared Dawsons on the defensive line, as opposed to having Heinisch and Gabriel Rubio out there, Gabriel Rubio's 290. Like, you are putting yourself on the interior at such a disadvantage. When if we had Tion Gray out there, who's 6'6", 350, Miami's not going to be able to run up the middle against us like they did last year. That's where I'm kind of coming at it from. Like, I think you put yourself in a bad position heading into that game by not getting more guys.
That was so good last year that, to be honest, I don't really care who Miami was up against. They had the
overall advantage.
They struggled in a few games last year, like SMU.
You want to be honest, the reason why they struggled in those games, it wasn't because of the O-line. O-line did
Carson Beck. Sorry.
Yes, it's because of Carson Beck. It's because Mario Cristobal does not take those games serious. And it's the number one thing that I pointed out in those games is that this could be a game where Mario Cristobal either, one, doesn't put the game away and they have a chance of losing, or two, start off so far behind they can't come back. Because he takes and I said, biggest games, Mario Cristobal isn't a bad head coach. It's your games against SMU and your Louisville's, where you have teams that are bowl-eligible teams. They're good enough to be bowl-eligible. They're going to win 8 games, 9 games, maybe finish the season ranked. But Mario Cristobal's got to look at it and be like, oh, my God, we don't even have to try this week. And it feels like they're unprepared.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Like, if Notre Dame wasn't playing Miami, if we weren't rivals, I don't think they would lose that game. Because I don't think Mario Cristobal gives a shit.
And Miami
I think if it wasn't CJ Carr's first start, no, CJ Carr wasn't the reason we lost that game. I think if it wasn't raining that day, I think if our offensive coordinator said, you know what, we trust this kid's the only guy performing right now. Let's stop with the stupid screen passes. We probably win that game.
Yeah.
Now let me say this. Did you see that what Jeremiah Love said today? That he wants to come back to Notre Dame.
Yeah. Okay, I read the quote. It was, I wish I could come back to Notre Dame, but I have to do it right for my family. Like, I think he's just saying that I think he genuinely loves Notre Dame. And I think what's first? He's going to be a top 5 pick. What's top 5 pick NFL?
He'll be top 10 pick.
What is that? What's that contract look like? Ben would probably know more than me.
Probably over
I think it's at least
million,
like 10
$25
million.
million.
Like if Notre Dame
back,
a year. Sorry.
Yeah.
Running back top 5 pick is like at least 10 million. Top 10 picks at least around 9.
Like if we told Jeremiah Love, hey, come back next year, we'll give you 10 mil. I think maybe, but that's even like a stretch. He probably does come back. But I also think if you're Marcus Freeman, he was a player. He played in the NFL. It's one of those things where you got to also be unselfish about it. If Love came back and took that 10 mil, yeah, we can all say, well, he got his money and he got hurt and he wasted his draft potential. I think Freeman would really feel like shit for that. And I think I hate it because all 3 of us would, if Jeremiah Love said, hey, I want to come back next year. Fuck yeah. But it's just, dude, it's the smart decision is to go be a top 5 pick. Go be a top 10 pick.
At first, I was a little bit like, whoa, with Price going to the draft. But after the combine, now him being he could be a late first round, probably early second round pick. It was the year for him to go to the draft, especially because of next year's running back class. There might be a few more running backs.
Well, you don't know. He had 700 yards last year, splitting carries with a
Yes,
1,300
but
yard back.
it was the smart decision for him.
Oh yeah. But you don't know. He
Like
could
if
have
you
went
look
off.
at it from Price's perspective, is he was ranked as this running back class this year outside Love is one of the worst running back classes in history when it comes prospect wise, like how they're
Yeah.
viewing these prospects. He's viewed as the second best running back in the class, and he was the RB2 last year. I bet you if it was like, oh, Amon Hardy was going to be in the draft this year, if he was like the third or fourth best running back, and they're still saying like Hardy's going second round, then I think Love would, or Jadarian Price would have came back for another year. But
But he
his
knows those running
perspective,
backs are going next year too.
yeah,
Like,
but that's the thing. What I'm saying is there's no competition for him this year. He's going to be a third round pick. He's got to be put in a
third.
situation where he's got to be able to earn that second contract. He's not going to be a second round pick, guys. Let's be real.
I disagree. I think there's a chance I think he'd go late first to Seattle, but I think he's easily a second.
I don't think he's a second round pick.
Who?
Jadarian Price. I don't. The running backs this year, the running back market this year, like every team, and that's why it's so hard for Jeremiah Love, is there's only a handful of teams that realistically need a running back who are going to be willing to pay that much for a guy like him.
Like the
At the end of the day,
Titans?
you look at Jeremiah Love's contract. Jeremiah Love's contract's going to have him, if he gets picked in the top 5, he'll be a top 10 highest paid running back in the NFL.
But the
As a
craziest
first-round
thing,
pick.
I was
He's
watching
going
a
for the
video
Titans or
about this.
Commanders.
I was watching a video about this, Ben. People there's this narrative, right? And there's a lot of backing to it, but people look at drafting a running back top 5 is like a no, right? Like it's like an unspoken rule. You don't do it unless it's.
It depends on who
But-
you really ask.
But if you look at the teams that did draft a running back in the top 5 within the last 10, 15 years, and you ask those teams, hey, you regret this pick? A lot of those teams would be like, fuck no. These guys did a lot for us. Like Saquon Barkley did a lot.
My brother-in-law thinks it's a waste because it's such a deep position. You can find decent talent later in the draft. You can find good talent in free agency.
There's like 5 running backs.
I just think
but you're not wrong. But I told him, I said the top 5 running backs in the NFL are who? And all of them were first round to top 10 picks. And I was like, even if those teams like the Falcons aren't the best, they still have the best at that position that you can build around.
And that's my thing with it. I think realistically, I was a little against it at first, mainly because I don't want to see Jeremiah Love in a fucking Titans jersey. I'd rather drop kick a cactus barefoot than watch that shit. But it's the best opportunity for Titans. I think they should go and get Jeremiah Love. The Giants, I've also heard, are maybe involved just because
he better not go to MetLife and end his career. That's all I'm saying.
See, he could go there. We've heard the
Commanders are good too, but
Commanders.
Titans. I mean, if we're talking about unselfish for Jeremiah Love, I think is the best landing spot with everything they've done in their history at running backs. They've just proven to have Chris Johnson, Derrick Henry, Eddie George. Like they continuously put out elite running backs, and I think Jeremiah Love can continue that trend.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if he gets taken in the top 10, he's going to work out. People believe it's like, oh, you don't take one there. Was Trent Richardson a top 10 pick? That's the only running back.
He was the third overall pick to the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Trent Richardson is the only running back who was taken
Which
that
his
high
rookie
that
year,
did
he
not
went
work
for
out.
900 and something yards and 10 touchdowns. Like
he still worked out for the Browns. That's my thing, though. It works out. Those guys are that high for a reason. They have to be that good to even get that type of respect in the draft because the owners know, the GMs know where those guys can actually be made up for in their positions.
Like you would have to be. Everybody has Jeremiah Love. I've even seen people say he's the best prospect in this draft. You can argue that all you want, whatever. Bare minimum, he's top 2. If you are the Titans, and I get Ben hates them with a passion, but if you are the Titans, you don't need a quarterback. You've invested in drafting offensive line and spending huge money on offensive line the last few years. They've got Wan'Dale
Robinson.
Yes, but and just the money factor too. Like you also don't think these GMs are also looking to sell tickets. Cam Ward and Jeremiah Love. in the same backfield.
Well, the
Like
Titans
it,
are getting a new stadium here in a few years. I mean,
like
that could be
it's
good for
did the Titans
same with
are.
the
I still
Commanders.
think they're a couple years away, but I know Ben's gonna hate it because he's gonna have to play them 2 times a year. But Titans offensively will probably be a very fun team to watch.
The
That's why I think the
Titans,
Cardinals should choose him, but no,
the
we want to get David Bailey.
but the Titans are in the situation the Bengals were in a few years ago with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
Every NFL head was saying, "Don't take Jamar Chase." Yes, he's a really good pick. Yes, he's probably the best wide receiver we've seen since in a while.
yeah.
But you need to fix your other problems because you have your franchise quarterback right now. I think
They should have
realistically, I
taken
pray they
Terrell.
don't do it. I think they do it though. I think they take Jeremiah Love because at the end of the day, this is the best running back prospect we've had since Christian McCaffrey at this point, or Saquon Barkley.
Or
Yeah.
Bijan Robinson.
Hey, you know
Or
what's
Bijan.
crazy?
What?
Ben,
He's a
hold on.
top 5 prospect, running back
Do I
prospect
get
we've had since 2000s.
Ben? Do I get an apology because you called me crazy last year for saying he was better prospect than Ashton Genty?
I still think Ashton Genty's a better prospect, but I'll tell you you're crazy because I didn't think he'd be a top 5 pick. I told you were crazy for saying he was a top 5 pick. I still think a guy like Genty is something like
I think
prospect
you could
wise.
say Genty's a better prospect, but I think Love is the better player.
Yeah. I told Fravel last year he was crazy because he said Jeremiah Love be a top 5 pick. I'll admit I was wrong and that you were correct. He's a top 5 pick.
Well, you know
As
what?
of
To
right
be
now.
fair,
No,
Now I will tell you this,
I'm
Fravel.
going to be honest. You're not going to say
Fravel.
nothing to Ryan yet because I think there's a
Yeah.
realistic chance he goes to the Commanders at 7.
hey, yeah.
Well, that's what I was
don't
gonna say.
apologize
If we have the draft and then he comes in at 6, Fravel, I'm going to shit talk you on this live.
And that's not his fault with the team in need of running backs compared to last
Yeah.
year. Like if Jeremiah Love and Genty switched, I think Love would have went to the Raiders last year, and I think Genty would have been in a similar situation this year.
Well, here's my thing. And we're not going to go into it, but I would have it flipped. I think Jeremiah loves what he can do. He can do more offensively than what Genty can do. Genty, and I hate this shit because you see all the Miami fans and a lot of people that are trying to shit on Love and then praise Genty, and it's like, oh, Love didn't play anybody. Who did Genty play? Like that's a dumbass argument I've seen online where it's like,
I will say this: the only person I've seen shitting on Love more than Miami fans is one certain Alabama Titans fan who will say the dumbest shit ever just because he doesn't want them to take Jeremiah Love.
fucking, is it a guy that
My
He has
dad
a list.
and brother are Titans fans, so they're hoping.
Yeah. Well, he
Well,
said that Jeremiah Love was terrible the last
He
2
said
years.
Jeremiah Love wasn't good because of how he played in the Miami game. I said, well, how did he play in the other 11 games?
He didn't even play in the Miami game. Let's be real.
I'm about to say, he didn't really play.
He got 10 carries, and I hate Miami fans bringing up the 33 yards. And it's funny because a few months ago, what was it? I got into it with Miami fans, and I saved them, I bookmarked them, where they told me, every Miami fan's like, there's no way in hell Love gets drafted over Francis Mauigoa and Ruben Bain. And I said, okay, we'll see. And he's likely going to get drafted before both of them. And Miami fans hate that. I don't think I think it seems like people like the Utah tackle more than.
Not anymore.
Than
He's
Francis.
fallen out the top 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's fallen out the top 10.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Francis going like 8, 9.
I'm starting to see a lot of Francis and David Bailey or Arvell Reese to the Cardinals. Boo. But God, I don't even want to talk about it. But
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. I think Love goes to either the Titans or the Commanders. If Jeremiah Love falls out the top 10, I think it's atrocious. It won't happen.
Imagine, hey, Fravel, imagine sitting there watching your team pick someone the first night of the NFL draft. Couldn't be us. Hashtag put our
wait.
future on two.
The Broncos
white
traded
boys.
their first round pick.
Yeah, well, no, neither one of us are going to have a first round pick.
Yeah, neither one of us will. We both put our future in the cold ass white boys.
Josh Gardner is not white.
Well, no, we put our
No,
future
Daniel
in-
Jones. We put our future into Daniel Jones.
we put our future into a penguin. That's what we put our future into.
Well, you know what I mean. You went all in because you have a cold ass white.
I mean, you
Well,
can't
yeah.
say shit, Ryan, because you complained all offseason y'all haven't done shit.
Hey, evidently now we're gonna trade for fucking Alvin Kamara, so that's fucking.
Why
Oh,
the
and
fuck
Cam-
would you do that? Why would you
And
trade for him?
I don't
Sean
know.
Payton, I think that's a good
Sean
idea for
Payton.
1 year.
Trading-
Pick him up after he gets cut in 2 weeks.
Trade a
Well, you could get
sixth-round
him.
pick.
You could get him for a 7th round pick.
You could trade him for
Like-
a sixth.
Yeah, but then you gotta take his salary.
But and then also, what was it? We're probably gonna sign Cam Jordan. We're linked to trading for Taysom Hill. Like, we're fucking the new Denver Saints, man. Fuck it. Bring all the Saints over. Bring Chris Olave over too, even though he's like injury prone.
Only if you had Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Bo Nix is
Bo
Drew
Nix.
Brees.
Bo Nix is the second coming of Drew Brees.
No.
What's our next topic?
All
Yeah,
right,
what's
it's
up?
the next
Are
one.
we still doing buy sell?
No, this is the final topic, and then we'll get out of here. You brought this up earlier, the leave no doubt. This is going to be kind of quick. We'll talk about it briefly. But I wanted to bring up
bitch.
the Ty Washington quote that went viral. Brought all the Notre Dame people out saying, "Well, yeah, he's going to say I feel bad for the competition when you guys play nobody." But I think it speaks to the tone that's being set. So we'll listen to the clip here and then we'll talk about it.
Ty, how motivated is this team after the way last season ended?
Very motivated. We're going by this motto, leave no doubt, LND. So everybody ready to just get back out there. And I feel sorry for the competition, to be honest.
Yeah, you
So
you
that
talk your
quote-
shit, bro. Fuck them up.
Yeah, so I think that identifies a lot of what this offseason has been about. I think we talked about this as fans after whether we got snubbed or not. I'll leave that up to debate, but I think this team, we talked about it as fans after last season, right? Put belt to ass.
From that. Like, I really
Belt,
do.
put absolute belt to ass to everybody you play. Don't pull starters. Don't take your
No, you
foot
pull
off the gas.
But
No, you don't pull starters. You
in the third, fourth quarter, you want to get yeah.
No, obviously I'm over it.
No, I want CJ Carr running QB fucking up the QB run up the middle, up 38 points against a Rice week 2, guys. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, dude, no, fuck it. If
I
he's
want our
throwing,
Heisman quarterback to be put on fucking death watch. First game of the season in a blowout.
dude, if he hasn't thrown for 600 yards a game, he's not coming out. Like, we got to run up the score, man. You thought 70-7 was bad on Syracuse? Fuck it. We need to score 100 points and at least 6 games next year. I totally joking, by the way, but no. What were your guys' thoughts on the soundbite from Ty Washington there? I think it's interesting that Ty Washington was the one that said it. Not that there's a problem with that, but, you know, a guy that is not necessarily looked at as like one of the better players on the team. Obviously, he's a senior leader.
I mean,
But
that shows.
what
I
are
mean, somebody who's not a senior leader is acting like he looked motivated. Imagine the other people. Like,
yeah. So what are you guys' thoughts? What were your guys' thoughts when you heard the clip? And what does it make you feel about the upcoming season? I'll start with Ben.
I'm okay with him saying it, as long as we understand the idea that this now puts a target on our back. It's not we're gonna say shit. And at the end of the day, I'm fine with having a target on our back. Because what did John Gruden say? The best spot's not to be like underrated, like, oh, they don't know you're coming. The best spot's to be on the fucking top. To have people scared to fucking play you. To make them want to prove something, because that makes you prove something in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, as long as we understand that, hey, we now, like, we said this shit, we're going to say, I feel bad for our opponents next year, then go out there and show why you feel bad. And I'm not saying we run up the score. I'm saying we just go kick the shit out of teams. Like, realistically, any game that we're not basically full, like I'm, how do I put it? You guys remember who was it? Was it Georgia Tech versus Triton or something that ended like 330-0? And like they had to bring guys out from the fucking stands to play because players were so fucking tired. That's why I want our
Yeah.
opponents to feel like next year. I want them to be going to the stands to pick out fans
On touchdown.
because their players are that tired of getting their ass kicked.
Yeah. I completely agree. Sean, what are your thoughts?
I love it. Talk your shit. I mean, what happened at the end of the year last year? Motivate. Do whatever it takes to be motivated. Because I want you to go out there and kick some fucking ass. Like this is the year. No, like just talk your shit. He looked motivated. He was like, I feel bad for them. Like he meant it. It wasn't just like, yeah, I feel bad for them. Like, I feel bad for them. Like, I mean, talk your shit and back it up, like Ben said. But this team is motivated and this team is ready. I know Marcus Freeman in there motivating the shit out of them. And I'm excited to see who the captains will be this year. And a few returning, obviously, but see who it will be this year so we could see what the leaders.
Well, we know it's not going to be Carr because evidently underclassmen can't be.
That's not true. He's a junior.
No, I know. Because
Don Schuler was a sophomore redshirt last year as a captain.
Love didn't want to be a captain.
Love didn't want to be a captain. Don Schuler was a sophomore redshirt last year.
Well, Love was never nominated like that.
But no, Love never won it. Like never made it clear to the other players.
Schuler was a sophomore redshirt last year as a captain.
Bowen was the captain as well as a redshirt junior.
Yeah, that's upperclassman.
Do you think Carr?
That's what we're talking about, upperclassmen.
They showed how they did it last year on Here Come the Irish. Spoilers for people who haven't watched it yet, but they basically before fall camp started, they all sat in the team meeting room. Freeman asked the players to raise their hand if they wanted to be captain. Then they did like a team vote for the guys that all raised their hand. So
yeah.
I think does Carr scream to you that he wants to be a captain?
He might want to be a captain. We don't know.
Carr, Bowen, Schuler, Knapp, and Leonard Moore.
Yeah,
or Gray. I would not be surprised if Gray's a captain.
I think Leonard Moore's got to be a captain, man. But he also could be like a Love and just not.
I could see Gray as a captain.
Well, wait, Carr's got to be a redshirt. He'll be in his third year. He'll be an upperclassman.
That's why I said he'll be a redshirt.
Well, technically like a sophomore, but
he's a redshirt.
But he'll be an upperclassman technically. I think he's.
Yes.
I think if he wants to be, they'll vote him.
Yeah. All right. Really quick.
I do want to mention the surprise defensive line who's starting at edge right now and the defensive tackle position right now.
Yes, you can bring that up. So we talked about this off air before you hopped in here, Ben. But one more interesting thing from spring ball is that Rodney Dunham is starting on the other side of Traore at edge right now. Like that's your first team is Traore and Dunham as a true freshman.
Can we get a wellness check on Bryce Young?
I actually believe it or not, I have not heard much about Bryce Young.
I've heard he's slimmed down decent.
So, but I think we were talking about it in the group chat a little bit, and a lot of people said, "Oh, it's just spring ball; they're trying things out." But I think it's interesting to talk about that you have a true freshman starting at edge, and by the reports, he's been giving both Will Black and Gerby Lambert absolute hell. And he's put 15 to 20 pounds on since he got to campus.
I don't think but I think he rotates and plays a lot.
Dunham, what are your thoughts on Dunham starting alongside Traore?
If he starts if that's what happens, I fucking love it. Because that means we're gonna at least have a 3-year guy, a guy who started all 3 years come Dunham's junior year, where we're kind of gotta be in a situation where we've reloaded and we're ready to try to see if we can make a run again at the championship, at least make a run at the playoffs, depending on what happens. Like that's perfect then. It's getting him a lot of playing time, but I do think Sean's right. I think it's going to be he rotates in with guys. I don't think it's going to be he's like on. He's got to be guaranteed starting on the opposite side the whole entire time. I feel like that'll be a position where we'll rotate a lot.
Next year
You
when
think it?
Rutherford leaves, he'll be that.
You think it was kind of a Freeman just trying to say, hey, can you play with the first team as like right now, and just trying to get like a feel for that? Is that kind of what you think it is then?
I think that Freeman wants him to play this year. I think that this is kind of him telling him telling him without telling him that this is where we see you right now. Prove that we're not wrong. And I think if he's doing that well, I could definitely see Freeman being like, hey, like we have a lot of faith in you. And you're not being seen as our future, but like you're basically being seen as he's not gonna tell him like you're our guy for the next 2 years, but he's gonna make it pretty openly clear when that rotation comes in.
Also, interior on the defensive line, I saw Hughes and maybe it was Tion Gray, Hughes and Gray. But from what I saw, the starters were Hughes and I think Mukum or Gray. But I was definitely a little surprised with who was starting interior. I don't know if we want to talk about who we predict or think will start interior, but
on the interior, I think it's going to be I think your starters, Tion Gray is like the one I think for sure. And then I think it's going to be a rotation of Brew, Elijah Hughes, who was a surprise last year, played very well. You brought Mukum in, or not him in, but you brought him back from the portal. So I think it's going to be a rotation there. And then obviously Burgess, we talked about him getting up to 300 pounds and moving to strictly D tackle. I think you're going to see a little bit of him.
yeah.
I think it's just at that position, you've got so much depth. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not as much about who starts, but as much as like how you even out snaps, right? In situational football. Ben, you kind of agree?
Yeah, I think it will be like how we saw the linebacker position last year, where it's rotation, like what packages we're gonna have. And I understand linebackers a lot different than interior D line, but it'll be a lot of there's not gonna there might be one guaranteed start, kind of like how Bowen was, but realistically, the whole interior line will be just rotation, rotation, rotation. And then guys will probably earn snaps realistically. Like you're gonna have to figure out some point during the season who's gonna be a D lineman who's earning, let's say, 70% of the snaps, who's gotta be taking the majority more of the snaps in that rotation.
Yeah. Let me see if I could find what I
one final thing, because this is just kind of breaking news while we were doing our show. This is for more, I guess, me and Ben to talk about, since Sean, I know, is not the biggest Notre Dame men's basketball fan.
I'm not a Notre Dame basketball fan. I'm just not.
There was rumors earlier today, and like a lot of insiders for college basketball saying that Micah Shrewsbury was going to leave for the Butler job, and it was going to be announced tomorrow. And a lot of people on Notre Dame Twitter have been kind of celebrating that, which I think is kind of stupid, just because I think it would set the program back a lot more. And it kind of made sense because we had two guys enter the portal in Sir Muhammad and Sundra.
Sir Muhammad's going wherever Shrews goes.
Yeah. But breaking news.
That's my belief. I don't have anything behind it, and I don't even know what Freel's talking about. So.
Oh, but anyway, breaking news. Tom Noy put out a thing. So my inside source at Notre Dame basketball told me that Coach Shrewsbury is not a finalist for Butler University and was never interviewed. There has been no dialogue between the Shrewsbury camp and Butler. Nothing behind the scenes with anyone from Butler either. He will return for his fourth season at Notre Dame. Maybe even for a fifth, sixth, and seventh season.
unless we make the tournament. There's no 5th, 6th, or 7th. You want my honest opinion? Hubert
Yeah.
Davis also just got told that he's not allowed to come back. I'm giving Shrews the year. And to be honest with you, with how bad we played this past year, I understand a lot of it might have to do with Burton being out. But guess what? That's the guy you put all your marbles into. He's not ready to go. It's kind of like Charles Jagusah. You can't keep saying, "Hey, wait, like he's coming back, like help's on the way." You're putting your marbles into this kid. So I give Shrews the year. Um, do you want to know my honest opinion? I made this joke. I don't know. I might have been to some of the UNC fans in some of the spaces. I made this joke. I said if we leave the ACC, Notre Dame should go to the American in basketball and not stay in power. Well, I guess it's Power 5 now because there's no big Pac-12. We shouldn't stay as a major. We should go to a mid-major team,
Gonzaga
and so we
is
can
joining the
actually
Pac-12.
compete. Yeah, and Pac-12, I guess, being recreated, but so it's Power 6 then. But we should go become a mid-major team in basketball so we can actually compete for a while, and then if we want to move back into the Power 6, we can, because I don't doubt we'd have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
Dude, the Pac-12 for basketball is going to be filthy. They have Gonzaga, Nevada, San Diego State, Utah State, I think. It's filthy for
Shout out
basketball.
Jared
So-
Calhoun coming home.
Here's my thing with the Shrewsbury stuff. If
I will
he's
say this: we
staying,
also can't take
Yeah.
that word for word because Shrews was also not leaving Penn State, and then he came to Notre Dame.
well, evidently
Which-
this isn't from Shrewsbury. I don't know. He said he talked to the Shrewsbury camp and he talked to Butler.
But that's my point. Like Shrews' camp has lied before about not wanting to leave a team and then leaving that team. So I wouldn't take it.
But
word for word.
would the University of Butler lie and say that
We don't know if
even
we don't know if he did. He say he talked to University of Butler.
Yeah,
Did he
they
say
said
he
there's
talked to
been no.
camp?
Who'd
They
you
said
talk?
that
You
Butler-
talked to Butler himself?
Tom Noy said that Butler has said that he's not a finalist and there has been no communication.
If
between him.
If Butler's saying that a certain coach is not a finalist, I'd be shocked. You don't really ever have teams do that unless
Yeah.
if they're like 100% sure on who their next head coach is going to be, which they might be. They 100% could. It could be a not smart on your head coach. But usually they don't do that unless they have a guarantee of who the next guy is. I would definitely see it being coming from the Shrews camp. But I could also see like he's not gonna lie about that again, and he's just gonna be like, "No, I'm staying. I don't know what you guys are hearing."
Well, and
about
my
me."
thing is like, I never understood the rumor of why Butler would be interested in a guy that's been at Notre Dame for 3 seasons and hasn't had a sin. And I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He has had horrendous injury luck. And I go back to this. For all the people that want Shrewsbury gone, we've been shit the last couple years. But in all fairness, he had to rebuild a program that legitimately had no foundation to begin with. What was it? When he took over the team, we had 1 scholarship player, and he had to rebuild that roster from scratch. So he finally built it. I think we do have talent on the team. If you fire him, everybody's gone, and you're starting from ground zero all over again. And is the next coach going to be able to, like Notre Dame's proven they're not going to go big fish hunting when it comes to like basketball, like outside of women's, which is just
I
weird.
would think that with, and I understand why people think Butler would be interested because Shrews can recruit. He can get players, and that's why I'm okay with giving him another year. I said tournament, show improvement. If you're a team on the bubble at the end of the season, I'm fine with that. You gotta show improvement because then if you're getting all these players and they're not turning out and you're not improving as a team, then how good are those players actually? And Butler, they have the NIL money now
Or how
through
good are
revenue
you at
share.
developing players?
Yeah.
Well, that's their problem. It's the question comes to developing. Sir Muhammad has developed a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Like
Uh.
Sir Muhammad was supposed to be averaging about 10 points a game by now. He
I
can't
think
even get the 6 shots a game.
if they're not in the bottom of the ACC, I think you're fine.
Dude, Logan Imes is fucking terrible. I'm sorry. Logan Imes is terrible. He has not developed at all. Sir Muhammad, like you said, maybe a little bit. But the dude's ball handling skills and his skills around the rim are fucking terrible. Dude can't hit a wide open layup to save his life.
I think he's just, how do I put it? Sir Muhammad is not a high level. I'm going to say this the next year he's got to go to a mid major and average like 17 a game. I'm going to look like a fucking idiot. But he doesn't remind me of much like his father. And that was what we were being sold on, is that we're getting basically his father, which is not true. His father was a lot more aggressive. He was a lot more shifty at the rim. His father played a lot better defense.
Dude, watching him, like when he would get the basketball past half court and he was asked to initiate or get his own shot, it was like nails on a chalkboard watching him try to initiate something. And it's like, I remember him as a prospect at high school. It was like, oh man, this kid, he's dynamic. He's a scorer. He's a good defender. He's super athletic.
He was he was pushed a lot like Jalen Harrison was.
Yeah, and he's going to help out Marcus Burton, who was like the ACC Rookie of the Year that year, or Freshman of the Year, so much. No, he's not. And
I know.
I think it's like Cole Serta, right? I think he's a ball player. But it's one of those things again. Like people want him gone. I think you give Struz one more year. But I don't really know what Notre Dame is put in such a bad position for men's basketball, where
it just takes the right person.
if you give him another year, and Burton gets hurt, there's already stuff that Harrelson's gone. Like Harrelson evidently is getting offers to go somewhere else. If I'm Harrelson, I wouldn't be shocked if he leaves. Who's your number 2? Is it Serta? Okay. Who else do you have on the team? Sundra's gone. You lost her money. Like,
well, that's the thing. They have to go to the portal. I could see maybe. And I saw a tweet that said Carson Tout was coached 1 year by Michael Shrewsbury and he quit the sport. He quit, so I'm going to go play football. But I agree. I give him this year. Just show improvement. Show that the money we're giving you to recruit these players, that you're able to develop the players. And realistically, like, Butler's okay with it because Butler knows they have enough money and they can go buy whatever the fuck they want if they're good enough at recruiting. Because that's the way the Big East is right now. You don't really need to be the greatest coach right now in the Big East to get top recruits. Because there's so much money, more money you can spend compared to other schools.
And the annoying thing about it is, right, like talking to our fan base about it, a lot of the Notre Dame basketball fan base is like Sean a little bit, but the difference is Sean doesn't try to sit there and be like, talk about the Notre Dame basketball program and what should happen. Like he knows everything. You'll get a lot of those fans in our fan base that'll be like, look at the records. We're fucking terrible. Shrewsbury should be fired. And then they'll say shit like, well, it's easy to rebuild a basketball program. Look at how quickly Nebraska did it.
Nebraska took. I get the point that some people are making on it. Yes, Shrewsbury is at his seat's the hottest I think of any returning coach. I think that's true just because of how he's done. But realistically, you just need to show improvement if I'm Notre Dame right now, because this whole year, Notre Dame athletics wise, it's got to be a lot about football. It's got to be a lot about lacrosse. It's got to be a lot about fencing, a lot about women's basketball. Baseball's doing well again.
Yeah.
Baseball rebuilt faster. Baseball went from making the World Series to crumbling down to already being rebuilt. No, it doesn't work the same way. But I get certain points because realistically, it is now kind of the expectation that you have to rebuild within a year or two. We have to at least be competitive. I do think this year, if we were fully healthy, we would have been a lot better than what we ended up being.
Dude, when we
So
were
that's why I'm not going to say he should be fired just purely off this year alone.
yeah, the last time we were fully healthy, when the TCU
Last time we were
game,
fully healthy, we beat a fucking tournament team.
we beat TCU.
Yeah, a team that made it to the second round.
Yeah, like we beat them on their home floor. Like but I think the thing is, right, I think, is Micah Shrewsbury been a great coach? Like, just his on the floor schemes. His,
So wait,
the
we weren't even
referee.
healthy. Burton was hurt in that game.
The
No, well,
only
Who we
reason,
beat.
the only reason I'd be okay if he was fired is because of some of the actions with chasing the ref mixed in with the record. I think is fireable.
I
Well,
think
I
a
think
lot
now-
of people.
like, I'll let Ben speak on this, but I think those outbursts, going after the ref, that type of shit, right? I think that right there, and like his outburst at media conferences towards the media,
Yeah.
towards the fans, I think that kind of just adds gasoline to the fire into this year, where it's like, not only do you need to show improvement, but stop with the media circus shit.
I'm not against the outburst towards the ref. I am against what happened after the Louisville game 2 years ago because, and someone that we all know said it a lot. Stop taking people who are irrelevant's opinions so seriously. No one around Notre Dame basketball said Shrews was going to be fired or let go. Shrews was reading on Twitter, and probably his son was reading on Twitter, that half the fan base wants him fired. And he should have not said on live television during a press conference that if you want me gone, then quit on us now, but don't come back later. And that's my problem. Stop listening
And
to
slamming the
irrelevant people.
mic, slamming
That's
the
my
foot.
problem.
Oh my god.
That was my problem. The ref thing, I actually fully support Shrews for doing that because in the era that we're in now, with NIL and players not showing loyalty, I want a coach that's going to be able to not only say but openly show that he's willing to die for his players or get fined for his players. I believe Shrews is an open embodiment of that. He is willing to die for these players. He's willing to get fined. He's willing to get fired for the kids he's putting on this court. If he got fired because of that ref shit, I guarantee you he'd go on live television and say, "I do it again." Because that was one of the worst fucking calls I've ever seen. And that hurt our team. That hurt the guys who are working their asses off on this court. And that is so disrespectful that even happened.
I think
And
it's
I think that's
different.
important.
No, I agree with you. The ref
I'm
thing.
fine with the yelling. I mean, just everyone thought he was going to assault him.
Yeah, I think
I
the
don't think
ref
he's gonna
thing.
actually
Is,
assault a ref.
no. I think the ref thing is a little bit more like acceptable, like what you said, Ben. But I think it's things like that when you're losing, and you're losing a lot.
It looks a lot worse.
Yeah, it's
I was
like
fine.
Dan Hurley goes after a ref.
But say
Nobody-
Dan Hurley fucking laid flat on the ground and threw a temper tantrum at the Mountain Invitational a year ago.
But nobody gives a shit.
And he
because
was
they win
praised for being a competitor.
That's the thing. Like when you win,
But I love that about Dan Hurley. He's competitive. He's supporting his players. And he was
I agree with Ryan. I was okay
Yeah.
with the thing. You see, he didn't put hands on him, so I'm fine with that. If you put hands, it'd be too far. But I agree with yelling, showing passion. But the mixture of losing and it being a continuous thing, that's just gives people fuel to the fire as another reason where we're like, you're already losing. Now you're,
like
But
when the Louisville thing, right? Like I was split on it, right? Because everything Ben said, I completely agree with. You're blaming random people on Twitter who do. You're right. These people, a lot of people that talk shit about Micah Shrewsbury in the basketball program, and will say shit like, "Oh, look, it's embarrassing. It's like a high school crowd out there." And then have you been to a Notre Dame basketball game? No. Why would I go? They fucking suck. It's like that's the type of people we have in our fan base. So I get it, but you don't go out there and lose, get your ass handed to you multiple times a season, and then you throw a temper tantrum. You blame the media for it. You blame the fans for it. Like it was almost like I think we got beat by 20 by Louisville that game.
Oh, we got our asses handed. They
Yeah.
fucking walked us up.
And it's like
we
you're
looked like an American team.
Yeah, you're blaming the fan base for you getting your ass kicked. Like, I get it. You need more buy-in from the fan support. But fans don't. Notre Dame men's basketball, and as a head coach, I think Bray understood this. It's never going to be on the level that women's basketball is looked at, hockey's looked at, Notre Dame football is looked at.
Hockey, that was another sport that was gonna get looked at this year.
Yeah.
Compared to basketball.
Like it's not going to, even lacrosse now, like you could argue more people care about the lacrosse team than the basketball team. Part of that is because Notre Dame won back-to-back national championships, right? But like, it's just never going to have that. When you're the head coach of a program like that, you have to understand that.
It will.
When we were in Elite Eights,
if Micah
back-to-back years,
Shrewsbury wins the national championship, I'll punt a fucking cactus barefoot.
Are we gonna have to like screen cap that and hold you to that,
Bro? If we win a national championship, bro, like I'll tattoo the guy's name on my back. That's how positive I am. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
We're talking about how this guy might be fired next season. He's not gonna win a natty. This isn't UConn when they're like, "Oh, fire him. He didn't make it past the first round."
What
North
was the
Carolina
longest
coach was just fired.
Oh,
What'd you say?
they
North
fired Hubert
Carolina
Davis?
coach was just fired.
Oh
North
yeah,
Carolina?
Hubert Davis. Yeah, he got told he was not wanted back next year and that he will not be returning.
Wow.
So,
But yeah, I get frustrated when you
Micah
hear,
Shrews to UNC, baby.
I get frustrated when you hear, oh, Jalen Harrelson to UNC just makes sense now because every time we have a good player and then we fire our head coach.
We lose him to an ACC team.
Yeah, they go to UNC or Duke or NC State.
Well, what? Starling went to Syracuse. Fucking
Then Alan Lubin went to fucking NC State.
Yeah, Tay Davis. He went outside. He went to Oklahoma, didn't he?
What was his name? Cormac Ryan went to North Carolina.
I understand Cormac Ryan's reason for it. That was understandable, but
yeah.
No, yeah, like, and it's the problem, and that's the problem when you have a team that we have a football program that's doing so good. We have other programs that were kind of in the same realm, like hockey, and I would say hockey and baseball are in the same level as men's basketball is right now.
But even baseball, like it's different sport.
Wise.
But baseball turned it around they turned it around quicker than I get it, two different sports. But when you see, I would say basketball.
Well, let's be real. Baseball hasn't completely turned it around yet. We're 16 games into a 34-game season.
They just swept. They you know what? They're doing already better.
They're competing. They're doing a lot better. Doesn't mean it's baseball.
Hey, that's more than a say than what the fuck Notre Dame basketball has been doing.
That's pretty comparable to what Notre Dame basketball was last year, actually.
Hey, were we ever ranked as the 23rd team in the country?
We're ranked in baseball?
So. Yeah, we are.
Never mind. Yeah, fuck it. Yep, they've turned it around. Never mind.
Dude, we just swept the number 19 team in the country.
Oh, fucking oh jeez.
We'll be top 20.
Yeah, but no, I just get frustrated, right? Because you do see other teams like in Nebraska, like a Wake Forest, like other programs that you don't necessarily look
Nebraska,
at as
but they made the Sweet 16 for the first time ever.
But I'm saying like they turned that shit around very
after
quickly.
30 years.
And I get that because like there are fans in the fan base that like.
Do you get that?
Shrewsbury should be fired. Hold on, like Shrewsbury should be fired because he's had 3 seasons, and we've seen other places, other coaches go and do it year one, right? But I just think people don't understand Notre Dame is very different when it comes to the men's basketball landscape right now. And it was such a bad position when Bray left. But I do get it. it gets frustrating when you see other teams that haven't even had what we've had in basketball. Like you just said, Nebraska, the first Sweet 16 ever. We at least have a Final Four. We at least have back-to-back Elite Eights. And we can't have a turnaround in 3 years, but there are schools that can turn around like that. Why can't we do that? I get that, but I just think that
It's actually
like you
Nebraska
said-
turned around in 97 years, but to be exact. Depending on what turnaround means. Depending on what your qualifications are.
when was their coach this year hired?
I don't fucking know, but I can tell you this, they never won a game in the NCAA tournament
That's fucking wild.
before this season. So
what are they? They're like a nothing school then. They don't have football and they don't
they
have,
were good at football back in the 90s.
You talking about Nebraska? A nothing school?
Yeah.
They
Yeah, baseball
arguably
and
have
football.
a top 3 fan base in the whole country.
But
They're a lot like
Dude, they were it in the 90s. They won like.
But are they elite at anything right now?
They're like Arkansas.
Like what? They're just
No.
meh
They're there.
at everything. They're just there.
Or maybe Tennessee. They're like Tennessee, but Tennessee's really good at baseball.
They're good at basketball. Tennessee's good at basketball too.
Yeah, but they've never. When was the last time Tennessee won Natty in basketball?
Didn't they just go to the Final Four like 2 years ago with fucking?
I would say they're like
no.
a Virginia Tech. Like
fucking
Yeah,
Dalton Connect. Yeah, they went to the Final Four. Dalton Connect.
No, they didn't.
I swear they did.
Tennessee's
talking about
never been to the
VCU.
Final
I'm
Four.
just kidding.
No, Tennessee, because Dalton Connect was like one of the better players.
Don't Connect lost to Purdue in the Elite Eight.
Oh, never mind. So it was Elite Eight. Okay, I thought it was Final Four.
I want to say. Let me.
They're
look
gonna
it
make the
up.
Final Four.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure they lost to Purdue in the Elite Eight. I might be wrong though.
But
This
yeah,
is the second time Tennessee lost to Purdue, and
I'm of the mindset, like you said, Ben. You give them one more year. If it doesn't work out and we don't see improvement, then you kick the can down the road. But
I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
You know, I'm a UC guy. I dealt with fucking 7 years of Wes Miller. I can deal with 2 more years of Micah Shrewsbury.
Hey, I will say this. At least you shit on the crash outs, but at least you get entertaining shitty basketball. Because
Carson Towhead was coached by fucking Micah Shrewsbury for 1 year and quit the sport.
Hey, we dealt with Charlie Weiss, all right? Like
Don't you ever fucking compare Micah fucking Shrewsbury to Charlie Weiss. Charlie Weiss
fuck.
made a fucking Fiesta Bowl, didn't he?
Yeah, has Micah Shrewsbury played in any sort of postseason basketball?
he played
No!
in the
We can't even qualify for the NIT.
NIT.
I want to point that out. We
Bro.
were a team. Our last head coach took us to 3 back-to-back Elite Eights and 4 straight tourneys. And we just said this new head coach, we can't even qualify for the NIT.
Bro, we can't even qualify for our own conference tournament.
Yeah.
This year.
Like, Bonzie Colson would have fucking struggled with Micah Shrewsbury as his coach.
How many
And Bonzie Colson said himself he'd rather not play for Mike Brave than
Dude,
basketball
our
again.
team, bro, our program, our basketball program, our men's basketball program is so unserious that when somebody put in the group chat, oh shit, Shrewsbury tore his ACL, I thought, Braden? That sucks. They're like, no, Micah. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck did he do to tear his ACL?
You think Do you think Micah was on Sports Talk Drew's torn ACL list next to Deuce Knight?
And Keon Keeley?
How many-
Was he still on that list?
Yes.
You better not, babe.
I'm
How
upset.
many viewers we have this episode?
Oh, I got 91 right now. Which is
91 people are hearing us talk shit about Micah Shrewsbury and about how he was such a bad coach he made Carson South quit the game of basketball.
Oh fuck. All right. Well, you know what? At least
Michael
women's
Shrewsbury's the
basketball.
Nolan Ziegler of basketball.
At least women's basketball beat Ohio State.
Oh, so women's could do something. Our football team.
Yeah.
That's great.
We
At
can
least
only
someone
beat
was able to do that.
yeah. We can only beat Ohio State in two sports, and that's lacrosse and women's basketball.
Hockey.
So yeah, well, in hockey. But the three sports that count the least.
So the three sports that a stick is probably involved in a player in some way.
Not in women's basketball.
Hey,
Joke over your head on that one.
damn it. Oh fuck. All right. We're getting a little out of hand. All right. Well, anyways, guys, we will see you guys next week. Same time as always. We'll be moving the show now to 6:30 p.m. Central Time, so that's 7:30 Eastern. What is it? 5:30 your time or 4:30 your time?
Yeah.
Sean.
Yeah.
Next week we will probably likely have a guest who is the great grandson of Frank Leahy. So he will be joining us. He's the host of NFL podcast, so he'll be hopping on. Huge Notre Dame guy, so we'll have him on, talk some Notre Dame ball. But for the 92 people that are tuned in watching us talk about just nonsense at this point, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you like the show, make sure you go over to the Voice of College Football Notre Dame YouTube channel, drop a sub, like, comment, hit that notification bell. And every time we get notified every time we go live or drop a video. Anyways, guys,
Make
this has been
2025 your season.
here we go. This has been Notre Dame Primetime Live, presented by FanDuel. I am your host, Ryan Favell, with my co-hosts Ben and Sean. We'll be back next week, same time. As always, stay safe and go Irish.
Go Irish.